Welcome to an album review for the new YURAGI album, Here I Stand. YURAGI is a band that I was really excited about a couple of years ago. They showed a lot of promise with their early EPs, Nightlife and Still Dreaming, Still Deafening. That quality, however, has so far not translated into good albums. Their debut from 2021, For You, Adroit It But Soft, was lacking in many ways, including the title. I pretty much made an entire YouTube video back then just to vent my frustrations with that album. But it's 2 years later and YURAGI have made a return. Will they return to the form of their EPs, or will we get some more of the stupidest songs I've ever heard? Let's find out. We start on a title track here that's pretty hefty, being almost 7 minutes, and it's a really strong start. It's not perfect, there are some problems here, mostly in the songwriting department, but this thing is tough. When the drop hits on this song, it's beautiful. The build-up around the 4 to 5 minute mark is also a highlight of the track, mostly from the incredible performance by the drummer. I mentioned the songwriting here being weak because a lot of the time it feels like it's just going through the motions or not really building up to anything, but I can overlook issues like that when it just sounds really cool. And this does. I can absolutely see why this was the lead single for the album. This is one way to get everyone excited. That being said, the next song is Falling, which immediately scales back the excitement a bit. This is a really nondescript shoegaze song. One thing I've noticed about YURAGI is the further they go from shoegaze, the worse they get. Their EPs were straight shoegaze with some post-rock thrown in here or there, and it worked great. On their last album, they experimented with some ambient and electronic sounds, and it ended up not working at all. And that kind of continues with this album, except instead of ambient and electronic, they're going for more indie rock vibes. And there's a lot of mixed results here. This song just doesn't sound unique. There's tons of other bands that could have made this the same way. There's just nothing interesting here. The instrumental feels lost, and the singing, typically really good from this band, is more annoying than anything else on this one. YURAGI's singer has this great ability to make her voice melt into the instrumental, and that sounds really good on tracks like Bedside from their EPs, but that ends up working against them a lot of the time here when they're going for a sound that's less focused on loud guitars. The big moment on Falling is supposed to be the drop towards the end, but that just feels like what the song should have been the whole time. What's the point of the 3 minutes of wandering before that? And even if the whole song was just the part after the drop, it's still fine at best. I Wonder is the third song here, and it takes all the issues I had with Falling and makes them even worse. The instrumental here is even more nondescript indie rock, as the guitar repeats the same 3 or 4 notes for 5 minutes with no breaks. The whole song is pretty much just a 20-second loop 15 times with some vocals laid on top of it. And those vocals, again, aren't even really good. This is just a super annoying song to listen to. This is so pointless. Why is this 5 minutes long? You could have gotten the point across in 2. This doesn't need to be this long. You're Okay, Hold Me is next, and this is straight up a 3-minute waste of time. You know how I said I Wonder is just Falling but worse? This is just those 2 songs, but even worse. This is another boring indie rock track that could have been done by pretty much any other band, and a lot of those bands could have done it better. Anything good from this song comes from the singing, or the drum mixing, or the guitar tone. There are absolutely no songwriting highlights here at all. There is barely songwriting here at all. This band has forgotten how to write music. What's the point of this song? What does this accomplish being on the record? Thankfully, if there's one thing YURAGI still seems to be competent at, it's picking what songs to release as singles. The next song is one of those, Worthy Of. Unlike the last couple songs of their rambly nature, this song is highlighted by a punchy and tight chorus. The melody is one of the band's best, and the guitar finally sounds like it has some real oomph to it. The verses are solid too, as the band decides to mix it up and does some compression on the vocals. It's a new sound for them that shows their indie rock influences, but this time it actually works. I don't really have any complaints with this song. It's a really nice blend of indie rock and shoegaze, and if the band wants to commit to this kind of sound going forwards, I'd be down for more tracks like this. Any momentum built up by that song for the back half of the album is immediately killed by the kinda shit Lost Sight of You, which uses some minimalist production and is instead relying on the singer to carry it. You might think that this would build up into some kind of epic shoegaze explosion, as this band has done on songs in the past. It doesn't. This is 3 minutes of a piano and some ambient synths and some very forgettable singing. This sounds like the bad C-side to a popular single. Again, why is this on the record? Why is it in between two of the best songs? At least it transitions smoothly into an actually good song, track 7, The More I Feel. This might actually be the best song on the album. It has some much needed energy right from the get-go. Really, if there's anything YURAGI is good at on this album, it's super cool drops. I just wish there were more of them outside of this song and the title track. The melodies, similar to Worthy Of, are great here. The drummer also gets another chance to shine here, and they absolutely take it. The drumming honestly carries this track at times. The guitar is still kinda uncreative outside of the big drop, which is kind of a problem if you're doing a shoegaze song, but it does enough to keep the vibe going and lets the other aspects of the song take the wheel, where they shine. If the whole album was like this, I would be in love with it. Once again though, it's not. Track 8 is just titled Because. YURAGI completely gives up on any pretense of this being a shoegaze album and instead channels their inner 90s power pop band. The problem with that is their singer is completely incapable of doing the edgy vocals you need to pull that off. She's a beautiful singer, but she does not work on this kind of song at all. You can make the guitars as grimy as you want, but if your singer sounds like you just pulled her out of an opera, you're not gonna get that vibe. Leave this sound for another band. The chorus on this song is also, to put it simply, really annoying. It's just because what? This song just doesn't work for this band. It might be decent if an actual power pop band got their hands on it. They could maybe figure something out with this, but YURAGI just struggles with the concept here. I respect them for trying, but just because you can, doesn't mean you should. The penultimate song is just called Jason. This one's stupid. This is kinda similar to the memorable track from their last album, in that it's a completely pointless acoustic song that completely kills the flow of the album, and sounds like it took a grand total of 30 minutes to write and record. Someone's gotta tell them that they don't need to put bad acoustic songs before their closer. You can just have the album flow normally without one-off interruptions. This album doesn't really have any flow to get interrupted, but it's still a bad song. This album kinda has a similar problem to their last, where it feels like they had a solid 3 to 4 song EP, and then got told they had to come up with 6 or 7 more songs to fill in the gaps, so they just threw some random outtakes and stuff on there. I know that's probably not what happened, but you can at least let me have some hope for this band. It's sad to see them become boring. Like, at least for You, A Droid It But Soft sounded like they were trying things. They're not really trying anything here. That continues into the last song, I Liked You Through the Veil, which was the third and final single for this album. Yes, they released the album opener and closer as singles. That's never a great sign. This is a perfectly fine dream pop song. It's completely inoffensive and kinda pleasant, but I've heard this 5 times now and no part of it stands out to me in any way. Like, the little wall of sound bit is nice, I guess. The vocal melody isn't bad. There's nothing interesting here. The guitar melody is annoying, the drums are generic, there's no real progression or good songwriting. The most that gets added is some oohing background vocals and an extra guitar line towards the end. This is almost 4 minutes of a very static and decent dream pop sound that never evolves at all. So that's Here I Stand. You know how people always talk about how they're gonna be really ambitious and shoot for the moon? YURAGI seems to have taken the opposite approach and has instead decided to shoot about 5 feet up in the air here. Like, yeah, they hit their goal, but that doesn't mean anything. They're not trying to stand out at all. This sounds so unambitious outside of maybe the first song. There were hints that this band wanted more on the opener, but the next 9 songs are spent convincing you that YURAGI wants nothing more than to blend in with the crowd. In a music landscape where you need to be unique to stand out more than ever, YURAGI's trying their best to just be average. That's disappointing to me. 6 out of 10. I really hope they can pick it back up in the future somehow. Like, comment, sub, and I will continue to get mad at albums by bands I used to really love. Bye!